Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And one of the major concerns of the Black Ops Cold War season was the lack of snipers in competitive play. Now that pros have GA'd them for an entire title, will they potentially bring them back for next year? That's what we'd all like to see, but with the smokes as they are right now, maybe that is not going to be the case. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm really upset with the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Lots of discussion lately on, well, this game, of course, Call of Duty Vanguard, with the beta continuing on for another couple of days. This I thought was pretty ridiculous. The aim down sight stream, like the out of the tac sprints to fire, like speed on this is just ridiculous. Like you know, sometimes they talk about, the developers talk about, yeah, we like to promote a fast-paced gameplay and stuff like this. But I mean, this is just completely outrageous. It's honestly slow motion. I thought that there was something wrong, like some sort of glitch going on here, why this was the case. But no, it seems that this on this particular weapon, this is, I guess this is like an M1 Grand or something. This is just the sprint out time from tac sprint to aiming down sights and shooting. It's just absolutely outrageous. So yes, maybe this game once again, kind of like Modern Warfare, is going to favor people sitting up in buildings and just gunning people down from afar, because that's kind of the frustrations that we had in Modern Warfare. And maybe that's going to be the case this time around as well, especially with the game maybe being designed like this. It is not necessarily promising for the run and gun type playstyle, but I'm sure the pros will find a way to make it work and make the move and work in competitive play. This then from Crone that for some reason this tweet seemed to have got deleted, but when I looked at it on my phone I could still see it, so I don't really know. But anyway, these are the things kind of people go into the files right behind the scenes and figure out what's going on there. Some of these are going to be like campaign levels and stuff, but Control has been noticed as number 2 in kind of like the game mode type situation. Patrol, you know, Control is here as well. So there's been a lot of talk what the third game mode is going to be. Could it be Patrol, right? Some people have been talking about that, maybe the third game mode that Sledgehammer wants to introduce, but at least it does seem Control is going to be in the game. So with any luck, we will at least have that as a fallback option if Sledgehammer want to go down a different route. And to be fair, Control is kind of like a solid third game mode pick that you can't really go too wrong with, but maybe Capture the Flag will work, even though we're seeing nothing yet about CTF in the game, and Patrol obviously maybe is their kind of game mode they want to bring in with that hard point that kind of moves around the map. It's kind of strange, but seems like Control will at the very least be returning. That is certainly, of course, a good sign. Let's talk briefly about a couple of classes right here, because the MP40 right now, a lot of people saying, at least for SMGs, it's the most dominant one you are going to find in the game. This is Simp's class he has right here, so I'll just bring it on screen if you guys want to play the beta and find something pretty good to use. I imagine this is going to be not too bad, to be honest, given that Sim generally knows what he's doing playing Call of Duty. Envoy comes out with one as well, the best SMG class in Call of Duty Vanguard, as Octane says in reply. Thanks for the class, Envoy. My first game on the beta, I went 2-57, but I was frying it with this one, so yeah, definitely the one you want to be using. It is kind of interesting to see right here that he's left a few of these blanks, so like magazine, barrel, even stock he left off and whatever, and it kind of is interesting to see this, right, and whether this could actually be the meta, because generally you'd think that having an attachment is better than having no attachment, but when the gunsmith is absolute chaos like it is, and obviously like all the attachments have positives and negatives, and you know, you don't necessarily want to have too many attachments that have the same negative, where it's going to make your weapon handle awfully or whatever, and so maybe it is better in certain situations just to leave the attachments off. And of course the pros eventually are going to figure out what is best, but you can see some quite a fair few differences here between what the pros are using right now, between Simp's class and between Envoy's class. So you know, over time of course pros are probably going to figure out the best things to use, but it could be somewhat nice to see if like some of the pro players actually find like mid-season that maybe some other combinations work better. There's other players like the likes of Clayster that always tend to do this stuff, experimenting with different things. And to be fair, like even though the gunsmith is a bit of a pain, and there's so many attachments in the game right now, it's actually kind of ridiculous. Like you can see this from JP Krez, Black Ops 2 MSMC class, 54 total possible combinations for the class, because there was 15 attachments, 16 perks, 9 lethals, 9 tacticals, or 6 lethals, 9 tacticals, and 8 wildcards. And Vanguard MP40 class, there's 75 possible attachments alone. Less can be more, says Jacob. But even though it is the case that there's probably way too many attachments in this game, at least it does maybe mean that there is more variety we might see in competitive play, even though in general the pros are probably going to figure out what's best and just use that anyway. But yeah, back in the day it was just so much better than today. But of course Warzone has had a direction that it wants to take things in. But well, let's talk about the whole sniper situation going into Vanguard then. So this is what Crone says back in January this year. New sniper GA. So this was at the time when there was only one attachment allowed. They decided to take off like the Tundra barrel or whatever it was called and not use that anymore in competitive. Now eventually they just got rid of the entire thing. This was the thing really with the whole snipers, that at the start of the game, like the pros thought, okay, snipers are pretty strong, let's just limit people to one insertion destroy, and even people were using them in respawn, they banned them in respawn, and then they got rid of the attachments, right, and said, okay, you can't use any attachments. And then the snipers, despite not technically being banned in the rule set, the pros decided a gentleman's agreement that because they were too strong, they believed, for competitive play. Now, one of the reasons why that was said to be the case early on was due to the smokes, right? The smokes were very inconsistent. You could kind of see through them as a one-way, but also they kind of ruined your aim assist. And that's what people said, that the fact that, okay, if smokes like are normal and actually work properly, then we can use smokes to kind of counter snipers. That was the idea, like on Miami or something, or on a lot of these maps, to be fair, like well, at least in Cold War, if you were throwing a smoke, then that would actually block off a sniper's line of sight, and you could actually make a play happen there, especially because thermals weren't a thing. So that actually could work. But because smokes were kind of broken in the game, that's why they decided, okay, snipers, we've got to get rid of them as well, and if smokes come back, then maybe snipers can come back as well, because you can use smokes to counter the snipers. So that was kind of the discussion. As it turned out, even when smokes were fixed, they still didn't come back anyway, and even though they weren't fixed fully, they didn't really come back anyway, and the snipers arguably were still too strong due to the aim assist and then the whole lack of flinch situation to actually make them viable in competitive play. But this year, it seems like we may be going along very similar lines. Dashy, of course, tweeted this out back in June, and he said it a couple of times on podcast, the fact that, like, he really thinks that snipers should be back. They probably should have been back this year. He was even talking about bringing them out at the World Championship, right, just to have a little bit of fun and entertain the fans, because I think it makes Search and Destroy way more entertaining to watch and probably to play as well for good snipers like Dashy. And I'm sure he wants them back this year. Will it be the case, though, now the pros have decided to ban it for 1 year? Like, will they actually bring it back? I don't really know. I obviously hope they will. I think they will, but it's not necessarily guaranteed. This clip comes out from the Dallas Empire yesterday with ILLey and Shotzzy playing out, obviously, the beta, and well, he runs across a smoke, and there's certainly some discussion saying, wow, is that a Cold War smoke? Because it looks very similar. Like, look at this. You can kind of see through it. It's kind of one way. Like, I imagine aim assist kind of disappears, and it seems that very similar to the Cold War smoke that was initially the reason why the smokes got banned, and then the snipers kind of had to go as well.
Yep. Simp better be my strat, bro.
Yeah, let me see what you got, bro. Yo, you got smoking everything, bro. Smoke yourself out, literally. Oh my, bro, are these Cold War smokes?
New intel, ready for report.
Doesn't miss. Yo, where's your teammates at? Where's your teammates at? Oh, no.
So that is the concern right here. This is what happened in February when Treyarch actually came out and said, okay, the smokes are kind of dodgy. Let's quote unquote fix them. And you can see the one-way issues right here kind of disappear. This is back when the XM4 meta was a thing here on Miami. The idea was like, okay, if smokes come back, then you can use them to block off angles, and therefore the snipers can be allowed to come back as well. But if the smokes are very similar in this title as they were to initially in Cold War, then are snipers going to come back at all? You can see what happened right here, your screen. But even here, like, you can still see some things. So it wasn't perfect, and therefore some pros thought, okay, like, let's just, you know, we might have to keep them as they are, like, you know, smokes being banned out of the game, and therefore snipers are going to go as well. But to be fair, there were some additional changes that came through, like flinch got added to the sniper rifles in addition to some other changes, and the flinch, when it got added to snipers, it did make them more difficult to use. At the same time, it was still pretty much a laser beam. The aim assist was very strong, and there was a good reason, I think, why pros decided to ban snipers last year. Hopefully, though, that will not be the case again, because even with this situation, as it sounds with the smokes, maybe, well, snipers can still come to play. I'm somewhat concerned that, you know, now pros have somewhat got in the habit of maybe playing without snipers and not having them in competitive. They might find a reason not to bring them back again. And you can see from Sprat right here, like, the snipers seem pretty fun in this game. They don't seem to aim down sight incredibly quick, so I think it should be viable, right? I mean, back in World War II, the snipers weren't GA'd, but in that game on a map like USS Texas, there was often 4 snipers on the map. Like, there was 2 offensive players, 2 defensive players using snipers to hold down both lanes. And if the current crop of pro players with the heightened tendency to gentleman's agreement stuff were playing back in those days, then we might end up seeing a situation where, well, the snipers got banned in that game, right, because of how prevalent they were in certain situations. So hopefully they do make the grand return, but I think it's by no means guaranteed at this point with some of the things we're seeing. This from Marksman as well. Vanguard Search and Destroy is literally Modern Warfare Search and Destroy, but with new maps, guns, and equipment. And yet some people are praising Modern Warfare and complaining about Vanguard. I do not get it, which the last part may be what it is, but definitely Marksman's perspective here that Vanguard Search is literally Modern Warfare Search is maybe a good thing, at least for sniping, right? Because in Modern Warfare we did get snipers. They weren't incredibly strong. Certain players certainly use them to great effect, and if Vanguard Search and Destroy is somewhat similar, snipers should be maybe on the returning once again. But yeah, I think the snipers in this game, from what I've seen, aren't quite as powerful and as easy to use as what they were in Cold War. So even with this cold smoke situation, maybe snipers will still make their return with any luck. I'm sure that'll be the case, at least for us trying to watch at home as fans. This I thought as well from Lyman just before we finish out the video, the full 2021 season card from Scump. Pretty impressive stuff, an 84 overall, positive in all the game modes. But yeah, this year is SMG Duo. We talked yesterday about how if there had to be one player that he might want to team with from FaZe, it would be aBeZy, but it looks like Scump and Shotzzy, as we saw in that clip earlier with ILLey, is going to be the duo going forwards. Certainly going to be a scary one, no doubt about that. Should be pretty much the perfect pieces to the puzzle for this OpTic team going forwards. And speaking of, well, Scump right here from Center, I hopped on Vanguard on my stream, told me you dropped a nuke in your third game. I also dropped a nuke on my third game. Coincidence? Maybe Doug and Scump are meant to be, and that's going to be the duo we are going to be seeing going forwards. And well, this is what I was actually going to talk about a little bit earlier for Mace, just so I thought it was kind of interesting that the spawn camera is now gone, which yeah, we've seen in the last couple of games really, where when you spawn in, you kind of fly down from the sky for no reason at all. Seems like Sledgehammer have removed that, which is certainly a positive thing, I think, for at least the smaller maps and standard Call of Duty multiplayer for competitive as well. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really upset the YouTube algorithm. If you enjoy this content, I hope people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I'll grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.